Is everybody as sick of the heat as I am? Hey everybody, it's Christine, and I'm going to do my weekly wrap-up. I finished 4 books this week. Well, no, I finished 4 books, 2 short stories, and a couple of little snippets, I guess. I'll get into that, though. The first book I finished is book 8, The Hostile Hospital, and it's the series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. My son loved it. He thought it was funny. I'm kind of getting tired of them. They're very formulaic. You can pretty much, once you read, 1 or 2, you can pretty much guarantee you know what's going to happen. But he's loving it, so that's what matters. So he obviously, I think he gave this one a 4 or a 5. But they're kind of getting a little bit different, but a little very unrealistic. They were unrealistic to begin with, but now they're getting to be way over the top unrealistic, so they're not my thing. I don't even think they would have been my thing when I was a kid if they were out then, so it is what it is. And I'm not going to get into it because, pretty much everybody's read these except for me, so yeah. Then I finished The Winter Bride, Book 2 in the Chance Sisters Romance by Anne Gracie, and I used this for my summer romance bingo that not just romance novels Sarah has put on. And I used this for my Triple RC challenge, I think. All the links will be down below. But this is Damaris's and Freddie's story, and she doesn't want to get married. He doesn't want to get married. But his parents keep trying to push these muffins onto him, and he considers any girl that is looking for a match and money a muffin. So he proposes to Damaris that since they both don't want to get married, because his parents are putting on this great big to-do around his brother's memorial, which his brother had died. And she invited all these muffins to try and force him to get married. And so Damaris is like, no, I want a cottage out of it if I'm going to accept your proposal. And they say that, or at least Freddie says, well, I can't break up the engagement, but a couple weeks after you can break it up, it'll be no problem. The story goes from there. There is kind of an extra story of his brother and what happened to his brother, because he's the spare, the heir and the spare. He's the spare his brother got, I wouldn't say killed, died when they were kids, and his parents they're atrocious. His parents are absolutely atrocious. But I gave this a 5. I loved it. I think a 5? Yeah, I gave this one a 5. Loved it. And then I finished Time of Death by Susan Wittig Albert, and it's a China Bales mystery. It's book 1. And this was just okay. I gave it a 3. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. But she's a very flat character. She's a former lawyer, and she decides, because it's just such a rat race to be a lawyer, that she just wants to be living quietly without the stress. So she opens this, it's called Time and Seasons herb shop, and her friend has like an attached shop that's open to both shops. Like there's an opening. And so her friend, another friend, passes away, and they think it's suicide because she's got cancer. She's got terminal cancer. She's going to be gone in a couple of months, if that. And they know that she's not the type of person to kill herself. And there's this airport that the town is fighting to get, and she doesn't want it there because she wants her tiny little town to be, nice and cozy and without all the hubbub of an airport. So it goes from there. But I found I will continue because I want to see if she grows as a character. But she's very flat. She's got no emotion. Like there's no emotion. She's just, to me, she felt very monotone. I mean, there's more emotion out of her friends than her. Like, it says she's upset, but it doesn't portray her as upset. It just says she is upset. So it was kind of blah. I didn't see the ending coming, though. I had no idea about that one. And so that was a nice little twist. But yeah, I gave it a 3. And then I read this all in one day on Saturday. I went and picked up my daughter at work at 2 o'clock, started reading it, and by 10:30 I was done. And that was taking time off for supper and reading to my son, and yeah, so. It's Undead and Unemployed by Mary Janice Davidson, and I don't know if it's like the Undead series, but it's book 2. I gave it a 4. I didn't laugh as much as I did with the first one. The first one I was laughing and giggling throughout the whole thing. This one, it had its moments, but not as many as the first one. And she is the queen of vampires. Half the vampires don't believe she's the queen, even though she can prove that she's, I wouldn't say prove, but she has more abilities than any other vampire, around. Like, the sun doesn't bother her. She can wear a cross. Holy water can be thrown on her. Nothing. So, this one, she gets a job at Macy's. Her friend has bought her a house, and she doesn't want to be, and her friend is like a multi-billionaire, but she doesn't want to be taking charity. So then they decide, because, well, I wouldn't say decide, her and then, see, I can't really say much, actually, because it encompasses the stuff that happened in the first one. But she has 2 roommates, which one is her friend and one is a man she had saved in the first one, but that's pretty early on in the book. She saves him from jumping off a building and killing himself. So, yeah. But, yeah, I didn't laugh as much. It was still funny, though. But I didn't have the out loud laughing that I did for the first one. So, it is what it is. And I'm going to hold up this book because I read the rest of these as ebooks. Cat fur. The first one I read was, and they're all by Caracass, so I can pretty much guarantee you already know what I am. I read The Favorite, which is a short story. What was the other one? The Epilogue. The Favorite and the Epilogue from the one. And then I read Happily Ever After, but I didn't read all of it because the 2 previous stories I had read, The Guard and The Queen, I'd already read as separate ebooks. But in Happily Ever After, they have 3 scenes that are from Celeste's point of view, which I thought were really cool. And then, because she's not as what she appears. And then I read, there was a little, I don't know if it's considered a vignette, because it's too short to be a short story. But it from Lucy, America's Maid point of view. And then there was Where Are They Now from 3 of the other selection girls. So I read Happily Ever After, just those parts. And then I read the 2 short stories as separate ebooks because I don't like reading bind-ups. They just throw off my amounts read. But I did include Happily Ever After because I did read half of it yesterday. So that concludes what I finished. What I am currently reading is Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay. And everybody pronounces it Tremblay, but this is a very popular name in our city, and it's pronounced Tremblay because of the French. Whatever. So, oh, my son is home. Okay, you do that. I'm making a video. He's just coming to use the bathroom. So, I found, like, I'm about 100 pages in, and I find it slow. It starts off with a boy goes missing. His mother gets a phone call early in the morning, like early, like 1 o'clock in the morning, that her son has gone missing. His friends have said that they went out drinking at this split rock in the state park. And he just took off. They thought he'd come back home. And so they tried to double back, and and come home and he's nowhere to be found, but there's things happening in the house, that his diary pages are starting to show up and nobody knows where from. Love you too. Where they're coming from. And there's a little snippet from his friend Lewis and Josh that they kind of know more of what's going on than what everybody suspects. So I'm, hoping that it picks up, and I'm hoping that more stuff is revealed, obviously, but right now it's just a 3-star read for me. I was hoping for better, maybe, because, it was talked about last year so much. We'll see. And then after reading the first chapter of this, I went and saw the reviews because I wasn't really... When I first read the first 3 books, like the Selection, the Elite, and the One, they gripped me on page 1. This one, already I'm kind of not sure about it. And then I went and read reviews and realized why. But, so yeah, it's The Air by Kira Cass. I've only read the first chapter, I think. Yeah, first chapter. So we'll see. I hear that she's a spoiled brat. And I've already kind of noticed that because she is bragging that she's 7 minutes older than her twin brother, Aaron. And then when the responsibilities come on her, she's bitching because she's the one who has to deal with it instead of her twin brother, because she's the heir. So already you can tell she's a spoiled brat. So we shall see, because I've heard other parts are still good, but it's not gripping me like the first 3 books were. So what I'm going to read this week, I'm not sure, but it might be, let's see the page, When Darkness Comes by Alexander Ivy, and this will be for my RRC challenge. I'm still trying to do them, but I'm not forcing myself to do them. I'm picking up, like, Disappearance at Devil's Rock might go as random. But I'm picking up what I want to pick up, essentially. And yes, I know I can quit anytime. I like doing them. I needed to take the pressure off me somehow, so I bumped my amounts down to what I've already read, so anything over and above that is bonus. And if I don't get all 10 challenges done in the month, great. If I do, wonderful. So yeah, this is a Guardians of Eternity series, I think it's called. And it's paranormal, it's vampires, and the only thing I can get out of it so far is that he's a vampire, and something happens to her. It's like an explosion. Watched her employer die, had a startling dream, and now she finds herself in a seedy Chicago hotel with a sexy, unearthly Dante, a vampire she both desires and fears, and she is considered the Chalice, which is a mortal woman chosen to hold back the darkness, and he's required to protect her. That's all I really understand of that one. And then I Let You Go, I might pick this up, by Claire McIntosh, and this is the Books and Jams pick of the month for the read-along. And I'm not quite sure what it's about. Car accident plays again, and she's trying to get away from a car accident that keeps going on in her head that she was in, I think. And I know how that feels. Oh, it was a hit and a run. So the police are trying to find who did the hit and run. So those are what I might read this week. I don't know. We'll see you next week. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, if you've enjoyed any of these, what you think, because I'm sure most of you have read The Air. So that's it for now. I'm going to go die in the heat now. And then I have to pick up my daughter in 2 hours. So hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Bye.